Hello everyone, we have to discuss about that again. Chapter. For example, Bibe and Dailyism enabled hand to be the free and for carrying in front. For object in terms as the hand and were used more and the more writings. Working gradually and because more efficient. More efficient apart from the advantage of the freeing and hand for various uses and far less and energy is the consumed and while the walking as compared and to the movement of other quadruped and however the advantage in terms of saving energy is reversed and while the running and there is in fact indirect evidence of vibe and dailyism as the yearly and as the 3.6 million years ago and this comes and from the fossilized and humanoid and footprint at the La Toli and Tanzania. See the section covers fossil limb the bones and the recovered and from the header Ethiopia and provided more direct evidence of the pebedalism and around the 2.5 million years ago and which the onset of other eras of the glaciers and or an ice age when large parts of the earth and were covered with snow. There were major changes in climates and the vegetables and due to the reductions as the temperatures as well as rainfalls and grassland around the expanded aid the example of forest leading to the graduals and extinct. Homos is a Latin word and meanings and means the although and there were and woman as well as scientist and distinguished among the several types of homos and the name and the assigned to thus the species are divided from what are the regarded as they are the typicals and characteristics so fossils are the classified as the homo habilis and the tools make. अरे राम रे the tools maker Homo erectus and the uprightings and man and the Homo species the wise or thinking man fossils of the Homo habilis have been and discovered at the Omo in the Ethiopia and at the Olduvai and Gorge in the Tanzania. The earliest fossils of the Homo erectus and has been found both in Africa and Asia, Cubifora and West and the Turkana and Kenya and the Mojo Kurto and the Sanghiran Javas as the find in Asia's and beings to the later date and then those in Africa and it is likely and that the homoid and migrated for the East India and to the southern and northern Africa to the southern and northern and eastern Asias and perhaps to Europe and sometimes between 2 and 1.5 million year ago. This species and survived for and nearly other million years. Morocco and Dar is solutions and the Chad, Sudan, Ethiopia, Democratics and Republics of Congo, Tanzania, Kenya, Ethiopia, Somalia, and Mozambique and South Africa. Congo. In some extent, the name for the fossils are divided and from the place where the first fossils of a particular type and were found. So the fossil found in the Heidelberg, a city in Germany, and were called the Homo habilis virginis, and while those and found in the Ninder valleys and 18th and were the categorized as Homo the Neanderthalensis, and the earliest and fossil from the Europe are of the Homo and the Heidelbergensis and the Homo and the Neanderthalensis, both belongings to the species of the archaic and that is old, and Homo species. The fossils of Homo and the Heidelbergensis and 0.8 to 0.1 million year ago have other wide distributions, and 1,30,000 to 35,000 years ago and disputed the Western Europe around the 35 years. In general, compared and with the Australopithecus and Homo has other large brain jaw and with other reduced outwards and protrusions and smaller teeth, and see illustrations on p. 10, and an increase in breast size is associated with more the intelligence and the better memories. The changes in the jaws and teeth and were the probably related to different in the dietary habit. Pupilling of the world 5 से लेकर केवल मिलियन ईयर एगो सब एंड द सहारन्स अफ्रीका ऑस्ट्रोपिथिकस ईयरली होमोज एंड होमो इरेक्टस 1 मिलियन ईयर से 14,000 ईयर्स एगो अफ्रीका एशिया एंड यूरोप इन मिड लेटीट्यूड्स होमो इरेक्टस होमो स्पीसीज 45 ईयर्स एगो ऑस्ट्रेलिया मॉडर्न ह्यूमंस एंड यूरोप इन हाई लेटीट्यूड एशिया. The story of human evolutions and modern human being. If you look at this chart, and you will notice that some of the earliest evidence of Homo species and has been found in different part of Africa, and this resigns and the questions of center of humans origins, and was there other single centers or and were there and the several the issues of the places of the origin of modern human has been and must the debated and to the totally divergent view has been expounded. One the account advocating the religious and continually and models with the multiple reasons of origins, the others the replacement model with other singles origins in Africa according to the reason community continually and models the arc choice and Homo species in different regions gradually evolve at different rate into the modern humans, and hence the variations in the first appearances of modern humans in different part of the world. The argument is based on the regional differences in the features of present day humans according to those who advocated these views. Thus, dissimilarities are due to the difference between the pre-exciting Homo erectus and Homo and the Heidelbergese population that occupied the same region. The replacement and resign continually models. Australia. The earliest and fossils of modern humans, Ethiopia's Homo and the Kiwis, and 1,95,000, 1,60,000, South Africa 12, 1,20,000 and 1,500. Morocco 17 to 15 and Israel 1 lakh to 800. Australia like that 45 lakhs 45,000 35,000. Borneo 40,000 and France Crow and the Magnon near the Les Isis 35,000. The replace and results and community models. The replacement model visualize and the complete replacement everywhere of all the orders and forms of the humans, and which with the modern humans in support of this the view in the evidence of the genetics and the anatomical homogeneity of modern humans, and those who suggest this argues and that the enormous and similarities and among modern humans is due to and their the descent and from other population that the originated in other singular region, and which is the Africa, and the evidence of the earliest and fossils of the modern humans and from Omo is the Ethiopia, and also the supports the replacement models and scholars and who hold these views and the suggested that the physical differences and observed today and among and modern the humans are the result of adaptations over the spans of thousands of years, while the populations who the migrated to the particular space to the particular thousands resigns and where they finally settle down. Europe, Africa, Asia, and replacement place. Reason continuity model, replacement model, every yearly and the human way of obtaining food. So far, and we have been and considering and the evidence of skeletal remains and seeing how thus and has been used to reconstruct the histories of the movement of peoples across. Early humans and would have obtained food through either numbers of ways, such as the gathering, hunting, and the savannings and fishings. And gatherings would involve collecting plants and food, and such as seed and nuts, buried fruits and tubers. And that the gatherings was practiced is the generally assumed, and rather than the conclusively and established as theirs, and is very the little directions evidence for its. And while we get a the fair amount of the fossil ones. Morocco, Germany, France, Italy, Spain, United Kingdoms, and the Czech Republic. From about 35,000 years ago, and there is the evidence of planned and hunting from and some European sites and some and the sites and such as the Dolny and Westonize and in the Kinech and the Republic, and see the map too, and which was and near other rivers and seems to have been and deliberately and choose by the yearly and pupils. Early humans and from the trees and to capes and open the air and side. We are on the shorest grounds, and when we try to the reconstructed the evidence for the pattern of residence, and one way of doing, and this is why and the plottings the distributions of artifact, and for example thousands of flex tools and hand axes and has been the executed at the Colombe and the Olor JCLs and Kenya, and thus find the are dated and between the 7 lakh and 5 lakh year ago. How did the tools that accumulated in one and the places it is possible and some that sums and places and where food the resources and when the abundant and which is the repeatedly look at the diagrams feeding cutting breathing chasing on bonds. Archaeological suggested and that the airlies and the hominoid and such as the humans habits and probably customized most of the between 4 lakhs 1 lakh and 25,000 years ago caps and open air sites and began to the used and evidence for this come from the side in Europe and in the Gajate cave. Writing and city lives and life began. You see, city life began and the Mesopotamians and the land between and the Empire. Euphrates and the Tigris and rivers and that is now and part of the Republic of the Iraq and Mesopotamian civilization is known and for its the properly and cities life and it is the columnly and rich and the literatures and it and the mathematics and the astronomies and the Mesopotamians and writing. In the beginnings of the recorded history and the land and mainly the use unvanished.